We're continuing the Loom Chant process videos with the creation of the logo. I have been professionally working as a logo designer basically for over 6.5 years now. It's a relatively easy part for me in a project like this. Finding the balance between what the logo is supposed to be like with its primarily functional purpose, and giving myself the freedom to play around with a more illustrative approach where I can push the limits of how many details I can cram into one design was a more delicate aspect that I needed to take into account. As I said in the first video when I was planning the entire project, I'm trying to combine a protection symbol, a lot of elements that combine both the mystical and enchanting part of the business with the tailoring and leatherworking and armor making side. I really wanted to see how much I can push the design and how much I can add before it starts to become way too much. And unfortunately, working in this profession has shown me that people usually go way overboard with details and too much information trying to explain instead of creating a symbol that people can identify and remember. I did not want to fall into that, obviously. However, I tried even at this stage when the foundation was laid out pretty early on to play around with small ideas and small adjustments, as I wanted to have fun with it, to be honest. I guess it would be a good opportunity now for me to share a few thoughts about logo design in general. I think we see way too many corporate and overly sterile designs, and I think in the design world we kind of settled on the common denominators with very sharp, geometric, simple text, fonts, typefaces, whatever we call them nowadays, while trying to emulate whatever we see corporations do. I think a great inspiration source for designers that want to push their designs further and away from the stereotypical corporate recipe would be game titles or board game titles. A lot of the times the logo itself is really interesting. They're more aimed at illustration, which we tend to avoid in branding for businesses. This is why even now when I try new fonts and typefaces, I try to bend them a bit or try to push them more towards a more playful style. Even if my professional brain just tells me that I have to think about every surface this might be printed on, it still gives me more freedom to actually push the boundaries and explore what a cross between some playfulness in design while not going fully into illustration or hand drawing letters. I don't want to draw fonts, to be honest. Even when I feel like I'm close to the final product, I get a new idea. Maybe what if I add this element or remove this element or change the position a bit. But in the end, I don't really want to complicate it that much, considering this is a project for fun. But it's still really important to me to keep the quality very high, clean and professional, how I would do it with any other brand. Maybe the shortened version, more of a speed through simulation, I suppose. But even the title and subtitle fonts and the body fonts, they kind of need to work well together, because in the end this will be displayed on a website. We need to remember that we're pretending this is a real business, and it is for the characters. And also I wanted to take into account that in World this might be sewn onto armor or cross-stitched, or I'm not sure what the proper term is, or even engraved. So even though it's more complicated from a modern design standpoint, I think it's appropriate for something that might be most of the time engraved in leather. For that I researched some references with engravings. I mean, engraving is really easy nowadays. But even back in the day, I mean, you could make this at a blacksmith as a template, a proper brand, that's where the word comes from, duh, and use that to just burn it into the leather. I think at the same time, there are a lot of moments here that kind of highlight how tedious, I guess, this whole process can be. But that's why there's value in it, because people like me take a lot of time and learn a lot of skills to find the best possible combination of visual elements that can properly communicate what a brand wants to communicate to its audience. The wordmark, I admit, is way more modern. The colors, I think I had a bit of a struggle with. I think the main idea that came to me when starting this was just gold. And I'm not sure why gold was my initial choice, but it seemed appropriate to me. Gold is often associated with wealth, so maybe that's the connection. Maybe it's trying to tell the adventurers that this business is trying to cater to, that their services can contribute and help in their journey towards wealth and fame and power, or whatever they are fighting for. It's a promise that they can help, and that the outcome they desire will be more likely if Loom Chant is part of their lives. The visual identity, or at least the logo and the wordmark, are ready now. And the next part, I think we should meet the owners. So that's gonna be the next video. I hope you enjoyed this. See you next time.